The galaxy had always looked at humans with a mixture of curiosity and concern. Most of the advanced civilizations agreed that humanity was reckless, unpredictable, and dangerously clever. For centuries, the Alien Council had watched humans expand beyond their own planet, colonize nearby systems, and master technology at a speed no other species had achieved. They whispered about it in secret chambers and held meetings where every member tried to predict what humans would do next. The conclusion was the same each time: humans could not be allowed to grow without some kind of control. At the heart of this council's plan was the idea of subtle influence. They were careful not to appear aggressive or hostile because they knew humans could fight back in unpredictable ways. Instead, they wanted to create a system that could quietly steer humanity in directions that the council deemed safe. They built secret control protocols into space lanes, communication networks, and navigation systems. The council believed that once humans used these systems, they would follow the guidance without realizing they were being influenced. Meanwhile, on the outer edge of human space, a small research station floated silently above a blue-green planet. The station was modest compared to the massive alien complexes, but it was alive with human activity. Liam Carter, a young but talented scientist, worked tirelessly in the lab, examining data from probes and satellites that had traveled beyond the solar system. He had messy brown hair, sharp eyes, and a curiosity that seemed impossible to satisfy. Liam had always wondered about the universe, but recently he had noticed something strange. The data from the latest probe, which had been sent toward a distant star system, was not behaving as it should. Signals were slightly delayed in ways that did not match any known interference. The probe's course had been shifted by small amounts at times, too subtle for most to notice, but enough to catch Liam's attention. At first, he thought it might be a software glitch or perhaps cosmic interference, but the patterns were too consistent to be random. Clara Hayes, a pilot and explorer, was on a mission near the same region. Clara was strong and determined, with short hair that often fell into her eyes when she worked. She had been traveling between human colonies for months, charting new territories and testing jump drives for long-range travel. During her journey, she began noticing anomalies in her ship's navigation systems. Occasionally, the autopilot seemed to make decisions she had not input, and sometimes the communications arrays transmitted messages that were delayed or were routed in unusual ways. She thought it was a temporary technical error, but as the anomalies continued, she started to feel uneasy. Fate brought Liam and Clara together. A routine signal sent from her ship to the research station was received with unexpected interruptions. Liam, curious about the anomaly, contacted her through a secure channel. "This is Liam Carter at the Orion Research Station," he said, trying to sound calm despite the excitement in his voice. "I noticed some unusual patterns in your transmission. Can you confirm if your systems are acting normally?" Clara frowned at the screen. "I've been seeing odd behavior for weeks. The ship seems to be rerouting commands on its own. It's subtle, but I feel like someone or something is trying to interfere with navigation." Liam leaned closer to his monitors, running simulations and comparing data from her ship with data from the probe. "It's consistent with what I've been seeing from the probe. The signals are being altered, but not in a way that damages the systems. It's more like guidance." Clara's eyes widened. "Guidance? You mean someone is trying to control us?" "Maybe," Liam said cautiously. "Or something is trying to influence the decisions humans make in space. It's subtle enough that most people wouldn't notice, but I think it's deliberate." Neither of them had expected this. Humans had always faced dangers from hostile species, natural disasters, and the vast unknown of space. But the idea of being subtly controlled without even knowing it shook them. Liam knew that if the Council had indeed done this, it meant humans were finally being seen as a real threat. Not a threat in war, but a threat in intelligence and creativity. Humans were unpredictable, and the Council had tried to contain that unpredictability. Over the next few days, Liam and Clara worked together. They shared data and theories, ran simulations, and tested anomalies. Every test they conducted confirmed the same thing: humans were being nudged, directed, and manipulated in ways they could not easily detect. But instead of feeling fear, Liam and Clara felt determination. Humans had survived countless dangers before, and they were not about to let alien interference dictate their future. One evening, as the station orbited the planet beneath a violet sunset, Liam stared at a screen filled with code and data streams. "If this is true," he said softly, "we have a choice. We can follow the guidance quietly, pretend we don't notice it, or we can fight back." Clara leaned against the wall, arms crossed. "Fight back. Of course, we fight back. Humans have never been good at sitting still when someone tries to tell us what to do." Liam smiled. "Then we need a plan. We have to understand how this control works first. Only then can we find a way to counter it." They spent weeks tracing the subtle manipulations, trying to find the origin. The signals led them toward deep space relay stations, designed for faster-than-light communication. These stations had been built by humans, but subtly modified with alien technology. The manipulations were hidden deep within the software, layered beneath multiple codes and protocols, almost impossible to detect unless someone knew exactly what to look for. Clara and Liam spent hours in the lab and in virtual simulations. They discovered that the system could predict human behavior with surprising accuracy. It analyzed navigation patterns, communication habits, and even decision-making tendencies. The Council had built it to be adaptive, so humans would follow suggestions without even realizing it, but the humans were clever. Liam realized that the system relied on patterns and repetition. Humans were unpredictable, and that unpredictability could be exploited. "If we can introduce variables," he said one night, "things the system cannot predict, we can disrupt it. We can make it ineffective." Clara nodded. "Then let's do it. Let's prove that humans cannot be controlled." Their first test was small. Liam modified a navigation program on a probe to follow a path completely different from what the control system suggested. The probe adjusted its trajectory autonomously, and to their surprise, the control system attempted to correct it. But because Liam had added random decision variables, the corrections failed. The probe continued on its new path without interference. Clara grinned. "It works. We're already beating it at its own game." Encouraged, they expanded their experiment. Liam developed a set of counter-algorithms that could neutralize the subtle influence of the alien control system. Clara tested the algorithms on her ship during a long journey through the Outer Rim. The ship, once subtly guided, now moved according to her commands alone, unaltered by any alien interference. The feeling of freedom was exhilarating. For the first time, humanity's independence was tangible. The Council, observing from afar, began to notice anomalies in human-controlled space. The manipulations that had worked so perfectly in simulations were failing in reality. Their influence over humans, thought to be subtle and absolute, was unraveling. The Council's members were perplexed. They had underestimated the human spirit, their creativity, and their refusal to be controlled. Back at the research station, Liam and Clara realized the significance of what they had done. This was more than a technical victory. It was proof that humans could resist, adapt, and overcome attempts at domination. "They thought they could control us without ever touching us," Clara said, watching the distant stars. "But they didn't know humans." "They never do." Liam nodded. "This is only the beginning. If the Council tries to push harder, we'll be ready. We'll find a way to turn every attempt into an advantage for humanity." As they looked out at the endless expanse of stars, both felt a sense of pride. Humanity had survived countless dangers, but this was different. This was not a natural disaster or a hostile alien attack. This was a test of human ingenuity, independence, and spirit. And humans were rising to it. Far across the galaxy, in the secret chambers of the Council, alarms blared. The subtle influence system had failed in multiple sectors. Attempts to steer humans had been met with unexpected resistance. The Council members whispered urgently, their voices filled with unease. They had faced many species, many rebellions, and many wars. But humans were unlike anything they had encountered. They could not be predicted. They could not be contained. And that realization filled the Council with fear. In the quiet of space, The research station continued its work. Liam and Clara were just two humans, small and fragile in the vastness of the universe. Yet their actions carried the weight of an entire species. The galaxy had tried to control humans. It was too late. Humans were already awake, already aware, and already ready to defend their freedom with every ounce of creativity and courage they possessed. The stars above seemed to shine a little brighter, reflecting the determination that burned in the hearts of humans. No council, no matter how advanced, could stop the force that was the human spirit. The galaxy had underestimated humans. The council believed their systems were subtle and invisible. Yet humans had already begun to notice, and more importantly, resist. Liam Carter and Clara Hayes had proven that even the most carefully hidden manipulations could be discovered and countered, but they were only the beginning. Humanity as a whole was about to awaken. Back on Earth, in the bustling city of New Chicago, news of unusual space anomalies began reaching government and scientific agencies. Communications from deep space probes had returned with unexpected data. Ships that had once followed prescribed paths now veered unpredictably. Every analysis pointed to one conclusion: humans were no longer under the quiet guidance. The Council had assumed Commander Ethan Cole, a seasoned leader of the human interstellar fleet, gathered a small team to discuss the findings. Among them were scientists and engineers who had been monitoring deep space exploration, including Liam, who had been called from his station for the first in-person briefing on Earth. "We are seeing anomalies in multiple sectors," Ethan said, pointing to a holographic map of the galaxy. "These are not accidents. Something or someone is interfering with the control systems we once believed secure." "Liam, your findings align with this?" Liam nodded. "Yes, the control protocols the Council implemented rely on predictable behavior. Humans are unpredictable. We are discovering ways to neutralize their influence. Once we introduce small variations, their guidance fails entirely. Their systems are clever, but not clever enough for humans." Ethan leaned back, eyes narrowing. "So they thought they could control us quietly, and we found out." "What now?" Clara, standing beside Liam, spoke with quiet determination. "We make sure it never works again. If the Council tries to enforce their control, humans will be ready. We can turn every attempt into an advantage." It was not just the Council's influence that worried them. If the Council learned that humans could resist, they might attempt open action, sending fleets or agents to force compliance. The key was preparation and understanding, and humans had always excelled at turning disadvantages into strength. The first step was communication. Liam and Clara worked on expanding the counter-algorithms. They had tested on small probes to larger networks. These algorithms could predict where the Council would attempt to exert influence and automatically neutralize it. They built systems that not only blocked interference, but used it to improve human operations. Ships could travel faster, communications were more secure, and navigation systems became smarter. Clara tested one of these algorithms during a long journey across the Vega cluster, a sector previously controlled in part by alien protocols. She deliberately fed her ship's systems false information to mimic the Council's expected influence. To her delight, the ship corrected itself perfectly, following her commands instead of the predicted patterns. "It's like the ship knows it's free," she said over the communicator to Liam, her voice filled with excitement. Liam laughed softly. "Freedom is a powerful tool. The Council underestimated it. They assumed humans would follow patterns, but humans don't follow. We adapt, encouraged by their success." The team on Earth decided to test the counter-algorithms on a larger scale. Fleets of human ships were sent into previously restricted sectors. They executed complex maneuvers that the Council had assumed would be impossible without guidance. Humans acted unpredictably but with precision, bypassing the subtle controls and exploring territories without interference. Meanwhile, the Alien Council was beginning to notice. Their systems, designed to predict human behavior with near-perfect accuracy, were failing. Ships that should have followed quiet guidance veered off course. Communications intended to influence decision-making were ignored or turned into opportunities. By human ingenuity, the Council had assumed humans could be contained, but containment was impossible. On Earth, Liam and Clara held strategy meetings with other human scientists and military leaders. Nora Fields, an expert in artificial intelligence, suggested using the Council's own systems against them. If we can feed the protocols misleading data, she said, we can make their predictions fail. Every time they try to control us, they will give us an advantage instead. Clara nodded. That's exactly what we need. Let's make sure humans remain unpredictable and then watch them struggle to keep up. With careful planning, they implemented the strategy. Across multiple sectors, human fleets introduced variations in navigation, communication, and operations. Even when Council systems tried to steer them, humans found ways to take advantage. Ships moved faster than expected, discoveries were made ahead of predicted timelines, and supply chains were optimized beyond the Council's calculations. In one daring mission, Clara piloted a fleet through the Scifi belt, a region known for its hidden gravitational anomalies. The Council had assumed the fleet would follow a predetermined safe path. Instead, Clara and her team calculated a route that avoided detection while collecting valuable resources. Along the way, every step they took, the Council systems predicted failure, but humans thrived. Back at the Council chambers, alarms blared as reports of anomalies flooded in. Council members panicked. How is this possible? One of them demanded. The humans were supposed to be guided. Their paths were calculated. Another shook his head. They are not following our guidance. They are doing things we cannot predict. A third whispered, fear in his voice. They are turning our control against us. For the first time in history, the Council experienced doubt. They have faced dangerous species before, but humans were different. They did not rely solely on numbers, power, or strategy alone. They relied on creativity, adaptability, and intuition, the very traits the Council could not model or control. Meanwhile, in the Human Command Center, celebrations were quiet but profound. Liam, Clara, and their colleagues had discovered the truth about human potential. Every anomaly they corrected, every system they freed from alien influence, was proof that humans were more than observers in the galaxy. They were active participants. Ethan Cole addressed the assembled team. We are learning something important, he said. The Council believed they could control humans. They were wrong. We are free, and freedom is our greatest strength. We need to make sure we remain unpredictable, intelligent, and ready for anything, Liam added. It's not just about resisting control. It's about using what we learn to grow stronger. Every attempt to guide us can become a chance to improve. The Council thought they were shaping us, but we are shaping ourselves. Nora Fields smiled. And we are better at it than they are. Their systems fail because humans are never predictable. That's our advantage. Clara leaned against a console, her expression thoughtful. We need to be careful, though. The Council will notice, and they may try something more direct. We have to prepare for anything, even a full-scale attempt to force compliance. The team agreed, and they began planning. They designed new ships with enhanced systems, trained crews to think creatively in unpredictable situations, and built networks to share knowledge instantly. Every mission would test human ingenuity and adaptability. Every success would strengthen humanity's position in the galaxy. As humans spread into more sectors, the Council watched helplessly. Their systems, once thought infallible, were being outsmarted at every turn. Human fleets moved with purpose but unpredictably, discovering resources, mapping unexplored regions, and connecting colonies in ways the Council had never imagined. In a small research lab orbiting Mars, Liam and Clara worked late one night. The station was quiet except for the soft hum of machines. Liam stared at the screen, analyzing data from a fleet that had just returned from the Outer Rim. They can't predict us, he said softly. Every action we take, they assume will follow their patterns. But it doesn't. We keep changing, adapting, improving. They are behind us every step of the way, trying to catch up. Clara smiled. That's how it should be. Humans were never meant to be predicted. That's the thing they never understood. In the shadows of the galaxy, the Council convened another emergency meeting. Panic filled the chambers. They are smarter than we anticipated, one member admitted. Every attempt to influence them only strengthens them further, another council member said, voice trembling. They are not just resisting, they are growing stronger because of it. How can this be? Our systems were perfect. Humans should have been guided without awareness. Instead, they are aware, and they are using it to advance themselves. The truth was simple. Humans had something the council could not calculate or control. They had spirit, determination, and creativity. They had unpredictability in their nature, and they were unafraid to take risks, adapt, and learn from mistakes. This combination made them more formidable than any technology the council could deploy. Back on Earth, Ethan, Liam, Clara, and the rest of the team watched the galaxy with cautious optimism. Humanity's journey was just beginning. They had faced one threat and turned it into an opportunity. They had proven that humans could resist even the most subtle attempts at control. Liam looked out of the station's observation window at the stars. We are just getting started. The council thought they could control us. They were too late. We are already awake, already aware, and already growing stronger. Humans had begun to realize the full scope of the galaxy's plan. The council had tried to control them, to quietly shape their decisions and guide their expansion. But the council had underestimated the core of human nature, determination, creativity, and the refusal to bow to forces beyond their understanding. Liam Carter and Clara Hayes had shown the first signs of resistance, and now the rest of humanity was waking up to the same truth. Commander Ethan Cole organized a mission that would test humans' newfound independence in space. It was a bold plan. Fleets would travel through regions previously under subtle council influence, explore new star systems, and establish connections with human colonies that had been isolated for decades. The council had assumed humans would follow predictable paths, but Ethan had other ideas. Liam and Clara were assigned to oversee the technological and strategic aspects of the mission. Liam worked on the counter-algorithms that neutralized council interference, while Clara prepared the fleet for unpredictable maneuvers. This is no longer about defense, Clara said as she ran simulations. We are showing the galaxy that humans cannot be controlled. We are taking the fight to them in our own way, Liam nodded. Every move we make, every choice we take, proves our independence. If the council thought they could guide us quietly, they were wrong. Now we will act openly, but smartly. We will turn their control into opportunity. The fleet launched quietly from Earth, its ships moving with precision and unpredictability. The first target was the Solaris sector, a region with valuable resources that had long been under council influence. Humans had been careful to avoid direct confrontation, but this time the fleet would move freely. Charting the region and establishing forward stations, Clara piloted the lead ship. She guided the fleet through asteroid fields and gravity wells with maneuvers that no council system could predict. Every step was designed to test the limits of the council's influence and to ensure that humans remain independent in decision-making. On board, the crew worked in perfect coordination, their instincts guiding them as much as the algorithms. Meanwhile, the council observed from their chambers. Alarms and alerts flashed across the main screens. They are entering the Solaris sector, one council member said, voice tense. Our systems should influence them, but they are ignoring it. They move differently from our predictions. Another council member shook his head. They are learning faster than we can adjust. Every attempt to control them strengthens them instead. How can this be? Humans are not supposed to resist our guidance. The council had relied on centuries of experience, carefully modeling countless species. But humans were different. They adapted, they improvised, and they refused to follow patterns. Every time the council tried to nudge humans, the humans found ways to turn the influence into advantage. Back in the fleet, Liam monitored communications and navigation systems. They will try to interfere, he said. We can't predict exactly when, but we can be ready. The key is to stay flexible and unpredictable. Clara smiled. Then let's keep them guessing. Every move we make should be one step ahead of them. They can't predict human intuition, and that is our greatest weapon. As the fleet entered the Solaris sector, humans began establishing outposts on planets rich with minerals and energy resources. The Council's subtle influence tried to steer them toward less valuable regions. But Liam's counter-algorithms neutralized the attempts. The humans' actions were deliberate yet unpredictable, and with every success, their confidence grew. In one daring operation, Clara led a small strike team to secure a planet with a dangerous terrain, filled with jagged mountains and intense storms. The Council had assumed the planet was too hazardous for humans, but the strike team used adaptive strategies to navigate the terrain, setting up a forward base. The Council's predictions failed completely, and reports of the operation caused panic in their chambers. "They are doing what we said was impossible," a Council member whispered. "How are they able to do this?" "They are not following our rules," another replied. "They are thinking differently. They are adapting faster than we can calculate." Humans did more than explore. They began connecting isolated colonies, sharing technology and resources in ways that the Council had not anticipated. Liam implemented algorithms that improved communication between stations and fleets, allowing humans to act in coordination across vast distances. This gave humans an even greater advantage, as they could plan and execute complex strategies without interference. During a meeting aboard the flagship, Ethan addressed the fleet's commanders. "The Council thought we could be guided. They thought we would follow predictable patterns. We are proving that humans cannot be controlled. Every step we take strengthens our independence. Remember, we are not just exploring, we are showing the galaxy that humans will make their own path." Nora Fields, working in the command center, added, "And every system they tried to use against us is now a tool for us. We turn interference into advantage. They underestimate us at every turn, and that is how we win." The Council's frustration grew. Their once perfect systems were failing repeatedly, unable to predict or guide human behavior. Every human maneuver in the Solaris sector contradicted their calculations. The Council had relied on subtle control to prevent humans from becoming a threat. But now humans were becoming stronger with every challenge. In one daring encounter, a Council fleet attempted to intercept the human ships. They moved with precision, expecting the humans to follow predictable defensive patterns. Instead, Clara and her team executed maneuvers that no Council system could anticipate. The humans avoided the intercept, turning the attempt into an opportunity to explore a previously uncharted star system. Back at the Council chambers, panic was rising. "Every time we tried to guide them, they improve," one member shouted. "They are turning our influence into strength. This was not supposed to happen. They cannot be predicted," another admitted, voice trembling. "Their actions are unpredictable and deliberate. Every move strengthens them further. How can we stop this?" Humans continued to expand through the sector. They discovered planets with abundant resources, established communication networks that spanned light years, and built ships capable of rapid adaptation. Every success was proof that humans could not be guided, contained, or controlled. Liam and Clara worked tirelessly, refining their counter-algorithms and analyzing Council patterns. They discovered that the Council relied on repetition and prediction to exert influence. Humans, by introducing randomness and adaptive strategies, could bypass every attempt at control. Every mission was a test of ingenuity, and humanity passed every test. As the fleet moved deeper into the Solaris sector, humans began documenting their successes. Reports were sent back to Earth, showing colonies thriving, ships navigating difficult regions, and fleets acting in coordinated but unpredictable ways. The galaxy began to notice. Humans were no longer seen as a minor species, they were emerging as a force that could not be ignored. Clara looked at the stars, her expression thoughtful. "They assumed we would follow rules and patterns. They thought we could be guided without knowing it. But humans are not predictable. We never have been." Liam smiled. "And that is why we are winning. We take every attempt at control and turn it into an advantage. They cannot plan for unpredictability, and that is our strength, even within the Council." Some members began to understand the danger. "Humans are not just resisting," one whispered. "They are growing stronger because of our attempts to control them. Every action we take strengthens them further. We cannot predict what they will do next." The human fleet, aware of the Council's attempts to interfere, continued its mission with courage and ingenuity. Every maneuver, every decision, was deliberate yet unpredictable. Humans were no longer just following orders or surviving, they were shaping their destiny. On one distant planet, Clara and her team set up an outpost that would serve as a forward base for exploration and research. The terrain was harsh, with jagged cliffs and violent storms, but humans adapted. They built shelters, established communication arrays, and began studying the planet's resources. This success sent a clear message to the galaxy: humans could thrive anywhere, even where the Council assumed they would fail. Back on the flagship, Ethan addressed the crew. "We are showing the galaxy what humans can do. We are proving that we cannot be guided, predicted, or controlled. Every success here is a victory for humanity. Remember, we are free, and we will remain free." Liam and Clara watched the fleets move through the sector, their hearts filled with pride. The galaxy had tried to control humans, but humans were proving impossible to contain. Every mission, every discovery, every success was a step toward full independence. The Council, observing in secret, realized that humans were more than a problem, they were a threat to their authority. Their systems of subtle control had failed, and humans were using those failures to grow stronger. Panic and fear spread through their chambers. Humans were unpredictable. Humans were clever. Humans were free. And the galaxy had underestimated them. In the Solar sector, the human fleet continued its mission. Ships moved with coordination but unpredictability, establishing bases, exploring new systems, and securing resources. Every action was deliberate,